update. How can you stay legally here in the U.S.? Another option is to apply for an asylum, but there are requirements. Let us talk about that today. American Dream for you.
This American Dream segment is brought to you by Aquino & Lowe Law Firm, answering your immigration questions.
You see her here, what, once a month? Attorney Allison Aquino of Aquino & Lowe Law Firm explaining immigration stuff to us. There is an update. Allison, tell us about this asylum case involving an Indonesian national.
Yes, there was a case recently that involved an Indonesian man who's homosexual, and he had applied for asylum in order to remain here in the United States because he feared returning back to Indonesia because of his homosexuality.
And this is definitely a sad story. Let's take a look at this.
And then I got a lot of support from the people that love me, that because I'm working out daily, that they're really support. And until today, maybe they're praying for me that I can see them tomorrow after next week.
What is sad about this, Ali, is you really see the emotion in him. But the problem is, has his petition been denied?
His application has been denied, and he has filed an appeal.
Why is that? Why do they deny?
Well, there are, as you point out, specific requirements for being granted asylum. And sometimes it's difficult to prove. In order to be granted asylum, you need to be able to prove that you have an inability to return to your home country because of a well-founded fear of persecution, either on account of race, nationality, religion, membership in a particular social group, or political opinion.
Okay.
So in this gentleman's case, as with because here in the States live
right.
However, going back is that live that life any longer, and he would have to hide the fact that he's a homosexual. And that may perhaps be the case, you know, back in the Philippines.
Back in the Philippines. But hold on a second. Why can't immigration see that as a real threat to his life?
Well, the other requirement as far as asylum is concerned is that you do need to prove that fear. The fear has to amount to what's classified as persecution. And persecution, a lot of people have the misconception that persecution only involves physical harm to the individual. Persecution does not necessarily have to involve physical harm. It can involve other types of harm, such as the deprivation of freedom of liberty. So this gentleman's claim, as with perhaps others who are homosexual, is that they the freedom in order live an openly. Unfortunately, that hasn't in his case.
And also, I guess one of the requirements is the individual has to prove that the government is unable to do something about the persecutors.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so that is one of the difficulties as well, especially in the Philippines. For example, if an individual is homosexual, they have to prove that the Philippine government is unable to protect them and unable to assist them with being able to live the lifestyle that they want to live.
And one difficulty also is, I think, another requirement.
Well, no. Actually, if you can show that you have suffered past persecution, then there's a presumption that you will find that same type of persecution should you be returned.
Okay.
However, there's no requirement of actual past persecution.
Another requirement, though, is it has to be filed within 1 year of entry to the U.S.
Exactly.
Okay.
1 year of entry to the U.S., but there are exceptions.
Okay.
So if an individual has not filed within that 1 year time, they can still file for asylum if they can show that there were extraordinary circumstances that prevented them from filing within that period of time, or if there were some type of changed circumstances that affect the basis for why they fear going back to the Philippines.
Okay. As a lawyer, immigration
well, on this particular comment, because I don't know entirely what the specific facts are. Generally speaking, however, especially in light of the fact that immigration has increased the number of individuals being placed in removal proceedings, a lot of individuals don't realize that asylum is still available to them as a form of relief against removal. And so the definition of what constitutes asylum is extremely broad.
Exactly. So say, for example, let's say I was living in the Philippines and my husband is beating me up and I move here to run away from my husband. Can that be considered
quite possibly it can be considered.
Okay.
Or let's say, for example, you're an individual whose family is very politically involved.
Okay.
And there are often family conflicts. And you might fear going back to the Philippines because of that, because you're a part of that family who is politically involved.
Okay.
And so it is worthwhile to at least explore.
Right.
If there is any reason why you would fear going back to your native country, it's definitely worthwhile to talk about those reasons and see if it might amount to some type of asylum claim.
And for members of the LGBT community out there, maybe living in the Philippines, for Filipino homosexuals who might want to do this, to apply for asylum, does it matter what state you're in? So some people are saying maybe if he applied for asylum, maybe in San Francisco, would it have been granted? Would it have been better for you?
No, not necessarily, because immigration law is national law, and so it does apply throughout the United States.
Right, okay. Well, thank you so much for explaining this to us. Certainly very helpful. That's a number to call on the screen if you want to get free office consultation. But they do also, you also do email and phone consultation,
yes,
right? For a minimal fee.
For a nominal fee.
Yes, thank you so much, and we'll hear from you in a month.
And 2 weeks with my partner.
All right. Thank you so much and more power to you.
Thank you, Janelle.
Magbabalik po ang Kababayan LA Health News when we return. Don't go away.